What's happening, guys? We are back for another episode of Talking Paranormal. I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm pretty excited about this one. Um, we talk a lot about the crazy things that happen in the wilderness, in the
Yep.
forests, particularly in the United States of America, but we both know that there's mysterious disappearances all over the world. Um, the funny thing about it is, it's not really funny, it's more shocking. In the United States alone, every year, 600,000 people end up missing. Now, a large majority of them are found, whether alive or dead. But there's still tens of thousands of cases that remain open. And within those number of cases, there is a pretty large amount of people that go missing in our national parks. Some never to be seen again. Many disappearances are under strange circumstances, and some of these people that end up missing end up being found under mysterious circumstances. So it begs the question, what's happening to these people, specifically the ones that are disappearing forever, never to be found again, leaving no trace evidence behind. There's just so much weirdness surrounding these mysterious disappearances. Um, One thing that I thought was shocking, and a lot of people may or may not have heard of this gentleman in his research, but his name is David Politis, and he does the Missing 411 books. And for a long time, he was a Bigfoot expert and researcher, and ended up falling into this whole whirlwind of missing people in national parks. And to make a long story short, he's tried to get through FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. He tried to get lists of all the missing people that have ever gone missing in national parks around the country, and basically was denied. Or it was so hard for him to get access to these materials, like they made the price way too much that no reasonable human could afford, And he started paying attention to where all these cases were happening, and he started creating a map showing all the different clusters all over the United States. And if you look at the map, and we'll show it later, it is insane. So when we talk about the thousands of people that go missing the hundreds of thousands of people, and then you find out, oh, so many of them have been found, like well over, we'll call it 92% to 95% just to be safe. But there's still, what's 5% of 600,000 people, and then you talk about tens of thousands of people, and then it has to be hundreds, if not thousands of people that still go missing in the wilderness under strange circumstances. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. I've queued up some videos for later that kind of give a little bit more of a background and tell a strange story or two about the missing people.
Yeah.
Just because I thought there's one guy on TikTok that is going hard into the research, and I like a lot of his content. So I pulled about 4 of his videos just to kind of give these people another, I don't know, a good background of what's going on.
Drop some knowledge.
Yeah, drop a little bit of knowledge and just kind of get you familiar with a little bit more than what I've said so far. But it's interesting, and it's almost as if there's a conspiracy theory somewhere here with the U.S. government not wanting people to find out about what's happening in these national parks. So that's what we're talking about. Matt, what do you think is going on? Just on the surface, do you think it's something paranormal, or do you think these people are getting eaten by bears, or what?
Well, I mean, I do know government employees, especially park rangers and stuff like that, aren't allowed to comment on anything supernatural. Like, it's just period. They can't. And so I also know that a bear will eat you. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you hear the stories of, like, I used my binoculars and I fought off that grizzly. Cool. You are the luckiest person on the planet, because that grizzly tackled a moose like an hour ago. So, I mean, man, there's definitely something weird going on. I'll say that much. The fact that so many of these missing cases overlap with cave systems.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Oh my god, the map is insane. So yeah, we're going to cover that for sure. So I mean, did they just wander into a cave and get lost, and they just happen to disappear around there? Did they fall into a sinkhole? I mean, that shit just opens up in the middle of the city anymore, and like swallows your Mercedes. So I mean,
yeah. What's really interesting, Matt, and you talked about predation and bears, and the first instinct of a reasonable person would be, oh, they're probably getting ripped apart by mountain lions and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of these cases on this map that we're going to show later tonight do not account for cases that are possible or proven cases of predation. That's the insane part about this map. Once you see it, you go, oh, this map is strictly the disappearances that have happened under mysterious circumstances. Nothing that has to do with bears or predation, no blood. And here's a really crazy fact, because a lot of these, I would think a majority of these people have had search parties, like search and rescue, heading out to try to find out what happened to them.
Jesus!
Find them.
What are you doing? I'm on my show. I'll take care of it in a minute. Yes.
Oh my god!
Sitting here talking about scary shit, and you just get up on me.
Oh my god! Oh, that was hilarious. Oh man. Oh, you scared me, dude. That is not cool.
I just barely heard something turn around, and my mom is standing there like, can you put this on the charger? I hope I didn't scare her, because I jumped hard.
Oh my god, you scared me. Oh man. I'm like, finally something happened on camera. Oh man. God, that is funny.
Whew, I need to go back and see that footage sometime.
Yeah. Oh man, that was good. That was good. All right, legitimately scared me. What I was saying was, there are search and rescue parties that go and try to find these people to rescue them,
Right.
and some of them have search parties with dogs, like tracking dogs, and these dogs cannot pick up a scent, or the trail goes cold. That is crazy.
And they use grid searches and everything. Like, they do it like by the book, and they don't turn up a single trace in the area they went missing. That's the wild part.
And in some of the cases, they do the search grid, and then they end up finding the person in a place they had already searched previously. Like, they just appeared out of nowhere.
They check the same area one more time, and there they are, like, magically.
Absolutely insane. But we have some other videos to cover before we get somewhat deeper into that subject. So let's go ahead and fire up some videos. This first video is a Bigfoot video. Now, I don't think we've covered this one before. Of course, it was filmed on a potato, and it's black and white. Super questionable, but I thought it was worth playing on the show. So here we go. Check this out. Very short.
It is
Looks
short,
like a suit.
So, I mean, the steps are short.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of like waddling. I mean, the arms are the right length, like we've talked about. But I mean, it's kind of waddling. I mean, maybe he just had to poop. I don't know.
It's a pretty thick suit. The way it was waddling makes me a little suspicious.
One more time, please.
Let's check it out one more time.
Okay, I take back the waddle. It actually had a decent step, but I mean, it wasn't a very long stride like we'd expect.
No, one thing that really was compelling to me was I was looking at it and I was like, gosh, it looks very similar to the Patterson-Gimlin film. As far as the way the head and neck attach to the back. Like, it appears to have some pretty big traps.
Yeah.
and is very thick, and the arms are long,
Yeah.
considerably long. And we've talked about that before, that one dead giveaway for fakes is that the human arms are on average 16% shorter than your legs. So when you see a creature and the legs are way long and the arms are nowhere near that long, then you can pretty much guarantee it's a fake. But, unless this is a highly sophisticated suit, which it very well could be, but I don't know. Let's watch it one more time. I want you guys to pay attention to the glutes on this thing all the way up to the traps. It looks thick, and I feel like I can see some muscle, but it is one of those grainy videos. So let's just check it out one more time, and we'll see what we think.
I'm still saying not real, but it was walking better than I thought it was.
Okay.
Like it almost like it moves like a gorilla would walking upright. And
Yeah.
I mean, and almost everything we've seen up until this point, the arms are swinging. I mean, they're swinging and just moving, and that thing's like walking, like holding stuff like a gorilla would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it's real.
Yeah. If anything, it's one of the better suits that I've seen.
Yes.
I wish we could see it from the front, because the faces, and that's kind of where I get suspicious whenever I can't see the thing from the front. Because if you're talking about faking a suit in today's day and age, the hardest part, I believe, would be to fake the face, because so many people have seen this thing, and the people that have really seen these Bigfoot will know what they're looking at. You know what I mean? Like when I showed the guy the supposed Bigfoot skull that Coyote Peterson found, and he immediately said, "Oh, it's bullshit." I said, "Why would you say that?" And he said, "Because I've seen this thing and I've seen its face, and it looked nothing like a gorilla, and that thing clearly has a muzzle like a gorilla does."
I'm telling you right now, I base all the footage now. If there's a face shot, I base it off that tent video. I'm like, if it doesn't look like that, I'm out. If it looks like that, it might be real.
Yeah, definitely. This next video is super compelling to me. I don't even know what to make of it. It could be fake, but it's strange as hell. And I don't believe we've played this one on the show or anything like this one, but I don't believe that this is the only footage like this that exists. I can't wait to hear what Matt's opinion is on this one. Check this out.
All right, everybody sees me walking. I'm walking. Look. This plane isn't moving. It's not moving. But it sounds like it's moving.
Thoughts, Matt?
I have an answer.
Perfect. Let's hear it.
So what that is the headwind is literally matching the same airspeed as the airplane's pulling itself. So it's literally just stuck.
Oh.
That's a real phenomenon. You'll see a bird flying.
Yeah.
If they're flying into a headwind and they get stuck, they're just sitting there flapping their wings. The same thing happens to airplanes.
No shit.
Especially those small single engine jobs. They run into a strong headwind and they get stuck.
That's interesting, because I've never seen a commercial jetliner do that. They're also 30,000 feet in the air.
They're also way up, and they're also putting out a hell of a lot more power. But those little single job planes, they're flying low. They're down in the actual wind.
Okay.
And they hit a headwind, and it's matching their airspeed. They're not going anywhere. It's literally just holding them in place.
I'm glad that you had an answer for me, because I was like, it would have to be CGI, because the wind is going. You can hear it. The wind is going in the trees, and here's this plane, and it's pulling something, and it makes sense that it's a headwind. But I really couldn't see the thing that it was pulling. I would expect it to be like floating around, but if it's strong enough headwind,
if it's strong enough headwind to hold it in place,
yeah,
it's gonna look just like that plane's actually moving.
Wow,
it was just a banner. So I mean, but yeah, that's the answer to that one. That's real.
I wonder how the guy gets out of that situation, because if he's
eventually the wind dies down. Eventually you get a break in it and you can actually turn. But if you're in that and haven't experienced it before, it can be really dangerous trying to turn out of it, because it'll yank your plane.
Oh, wow, that's scary as fuck. I looked at it and I was like, all right, either this is bullshit or it has a logical explanation, because if it didn't, we would hear about that shit all the time or something.
Yeah, no, that's a real
Okay.
occurrence.
Okay, cool. I'm super glad, and that's why we have this show. Very cool. This next one, this is another Bigfoot video. This one's kind of interesting. It's a very short. When you see the creature, it's so short that it's hard to, you only get a brief glimpse of it. But it was interesting enough, and like I've said before, I like a story being told for the video, and this one's kind of got a funny story. So listen and check this thing out.
Disease, but out of all the diseases, I think you got the best one. This is the only disease where you get to drink all the time. It says, you go to a bar, you meet a girl who's got the same disease as you do. And he's got a talk show.
Could be an adolescent. I mean, it's definitely not bulky.
No, I was thinking juvenile myself.
It could be an adolescent, or it could be Ninja Steve getting ready to take those guys out for wearing scarves while riding a side-by-side to the woods.
It could be Ninja Steve. I had to watch the video a couple times because I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. And he was talking about alcoholism as a disease. And he's saying, if that's the disease you got the best one, because you can go to bars and drink. And then he's like, and if you meet a woman who is also an alcoholic, then you both share the same disease, which is crazy. But I found it interesting. I don't really, the tree pushed over in the road or whatever. Yeah, that happens all the time. The top of it being snapped off. I'm not taking that into account at all.
That was a fellow side-by-sider that took it like a chain.
Yeah, for sure. But the creature running, that was just interesting to me. It could have been a setup video, but I don't know. I think if you're going to set something up, you want to get a little bit better footage.
Well, now you've told me what he was talking about, because I wasn't listening to a word he said. Now that you told me what he was talking about, no, that was just his sponsor trying to catch up to him.
Yeah, right. Get back here.
Get back here, man. We got to get back on the steps.
I thought you quit smoking too.
Man, if anything, it's an adolescent, but I mean,
I just don't. I can't imagine a Bigfoot would be chasing them. You know what I mean?
Well, no, definitely not. Not with how much in the stories you hear. The only time they try to race traffic is if they're crossing a road.
Yeah.
Besides that, they freeze or go away.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Maybe he hasn't been trained or raised properly.
I mean, again, adolescence. It could be an adolescent, so who knows?
Could be. Yeah, he might. Putting myself in the shoes of a Bigfoot, or lack of shoes, putting myself in the feet of a Bigfoot. If I see that machine running or driving towards me in the area that I'm in, I might take off. Maybe the thing was taking off running, but and maybe taking the path of least resistance, maybe going the opposite direction or to its left would be harder terrain. So maybe he's just running through the easiest terrain to get through fast.
But you gotta also remember, these things are the master of their domain. So
Sure.
like what we would deem hard terrain is a minor inconvenience for them.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and people talk about when they see these things, they frequently go where they know we'll have a hard time following. They don't run along beside us.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I wished, like all of them, I wish the clip was a little bit longer so we could get a little bit better of an idea. The only other thing would be, I don't know how they don't notice someone or something running alongside him, especially the guy with the camera.
Well, the guy with the camera, it's probably a cell phone, and he's probably just holding it up, recording this guy talking, and he's looking over here.
That could very well be.
Because I mean, if you look, he's not really pointing at anything. He's just kind of like,
true.
so he's probably just recording the ride and talking.
That's true. Okay. We'll go ahead and chalk that one up to fake. This next video It's another interesting one. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know if it was man-made or what the case may be, but it is definitely interesting. If I was in the wilderness and I stumbled upon this, I would be freaked the hell out. So check this out, Matt. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this one. What the hell? Does somebody really build that thing? And for what?
So the problem we will run into with using TikTok videos is some dipshit will find a video and they'll be like, we got sensationalize. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Sensationalize it?
Yeah, there we go. So I mean, literally, the guy could have been just showing, like, if it's a video of a guy showing something on his property.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and this is where we hide. We made this so it's natural looking, but this is where we have this thing. And they just literally cut out the part of the video where it looks like the guy's finding it and just says it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, that one, I've seen it several times. And
Have you?
Like, yeah, I've seen it several times.
Okay.
And I've never tried to dig into the backstory of it because, I mean, the guy's so nonchalant that literally, I mean, I'm like, okay, this guy knows what this is. It's not like he just discovered it.
I'm just trying to figure out how the hell we would make that thing. You know, if that is legitimate rock. The rocks underneath the structure look like they were placed there. I don't know if this is like.
It's not made out of rock. It's a fake rock on those gates.
On the gates, sure.
Yeah, on the gates, that's a fake rock. Like, look up in your free time. Look up Universal Rocks.
Okay.
Look them up. Oh, dude, they're legit. They're so legit. They build rocks for like aquariums and stuff like that. But I mean, they literally look like you're sitting here with a boulder and you can just pick it up and walk off with it.
Interesting. I just imagine that it's a lot. If the door is fake or the gates are fake or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
If the rest is real rock, you know, it takes some pretty serious machinery to get a space like that dug into the thing, right?
I mean, for sure. But I mean, look at the tunnels. Look at like anything. I mean, anything can be done with the right amount of time and want to, you know. So I mean, it could, like I said, it could be something from. It could have been chiseled out and smoothed out over many years, and it's just honestly just a little hidey hole to store something.
Interesting. I want to watch it one more time because it looks like it goes pretty deep too. It's just super strange to me. Even if somebody was like, "Oh, dude, check out this cool little spot that I built in the side of my rock," I'd be like, "How the fuck did you do that, dude?"
Yeah,
it's definitely interesting. Let's watch it one more time, and then, like I said, we have 4 videos that kind of get you prepped for the main topic of the show, and hopefully, we'll be able to keep it tight around an hour tonight. We'll see. But let's play this one more time.
So that part looks like it's finished in concrete. And then the rocks on the gates, you can literally see the frame that the material is put on. So, I mean...
I did see the frame.
Like I said, I feel like it's just a storage area or an exit or like a overflow for something. Not necessarily a secret... Oh, I mean, sure, it's a secret tunnel, but... I mean, like now, I'm going to want to try to research and find the backstory for this stuff. Because...
I just thought it was strange. I was like, why would somebody do that?
No, I mean, for real.
I wish we knew, because like I do believe, and I'm not saying that this is government involved at all, but I do believe that people have discovered weird government facilities in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting. So I really wish we had the backstory and some context to what this thing is. I just want some answers. But
I mean, there's retired missile silos for sale in Kansas. So I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe he bought Maybe he bought a retired government facility, and he's like, "Look at this weird shit they did."
Very interesting. Okay, we've got about 4 we have 4 videos and about 4 minutes worth of footage here, or roughly 4 minutes. Let's power through these 4 videos, and then we'll give our thoughts. Okay.
Absolutely.
Every year, dozens of people go missing in the national parks. Most of them are found, but some of them are not, and they go missing under baffling circumstances. I'm Aiden Madison. In the next 45 seconds, I'm going to tell you exactly what the missing 411 profile is. There are several key points to this. One is that people go missing near water. They also go missing near boulder fields. A lot of these cases involve a significant elevation change. For some reason, berry shrubs are very commonly found near the location. Sudden weather changes are common, as are the inability of dogs to actually discover a scent of the missing person. The point of separation usually involves one of these aspects, of course. As well, when remains are found, they are often missing clothes, or clothes are found where no remains are found. In many of these cases, children are the ones going missing, and when remains are found, there is no discernible cause of death. Factors that will rule out a missing 411 investigation include signs of predation, suicidal intent, mental health issues, the intent to disappear, intentional crime, or drowning. That's it. That's the video. Check out our full video on it. This is one of my favorite maps. Not because it's a good map, because it's really a terrible map when you think about it. That's horrifying. But because it fits with the theory that I've come up with here. So what do we know about the Flesh Pedestrian? Well, we know that they live out in the forests, they probably inhabit caves, and they hunt people who are alone or in small groups off of trails. A lot of these cave systems are in national parks. National parks are controlled by the US government. The US government is known to hide things that we are not ready to hear from the people. We've got all sorts of Native American legends about things that live in the forests and hunt people and stalk you. We've got over 1,200 completely unexplained disappearances related to the national parks. There are national parks in all 50 US states. Some of the largest cave systems are located in the Appalachian and Rocky Mountains. And the federal government has insisted that they get to manage this, not the state governments, the national one. What's the Park Service covering up? Fuck it, I'm doing a part 2 because my conspiracy theory goes deeper. So back when the National Park Service was first founded as the US Forest Service in the early 1900s, I think Teddy Roosevelt wasn't just trying to preserve wildlands. I think this guy, who is an avid hunter, an avid outdoorsman, knew something was out there, and I think the National Park Service is a cover to try and keep whatever is out there under wraps, to try and control it, to do search and rescue operations when people go missing without letting on that there is something out there that defies all we know about evolution, about culture, about human society. Because if there is some apex predator, something bigger and badder than humans that we can't explain, that's gonna freak people the fuck out. And I think this because in the 1960s, the Green Berets got involved in a search and rescue case in a national park. Why the fuck would you get Green Berets involved? Green Berets are some badass motherfuckers. You think they're gonna bring them out just because some kid wandered off the reservation? Nah, man, they know something's out there and they're covering it up using our park service.
The park superintendent just raised his hand and said, "Guys, it's pointless. I've worked here 40 years.
So Mr. Ballin's great, and this is a great video. All his videos are great. He is easily one of my favorite YouTubers. He's how I learned more about missing 411. But I don't think he's emphasizing the right part here. That last bit of the video, the park ranger tells everyone, despite the child giving a very good description of this cabin, exactly where they would find it, the guy in charge of the park tells them all, despite having very clear directions to where they're going, oh, it's pointless. You know, I've worked here 40 years, there's nothing there. What does that sound like? That sounds like so many other stories where somebody disappears and the park rangers won't talk about it. The government won't answer FOIA requests. The feds come in and they scare off journalists. Random areas of the parks get closed for no conceivable reason. And almost every single time, it has to do with somebody who has disappeared under completely unexplainable circumstances. There is something out there, the Park Service knows about it, and it is being hidden from us.
Okay. I want to share a screen really quick. So I was going to pull up a graphic of just the map because I wanted people to get an idea of, because it was kind of just a short glimpse of the map, but you saw all the dots. Okay. So I ran into, and I hate this website with a passion, but I ran into Snopes.
Oh, here we go.
And I thought it was interesting what they were writing. So I'm going to go ahead and read it off and show you how typically Snopes will prove something's false really quick. This was interesting to me because I thought for sure they were going to find a way to, squash this, but they didn't. So this is Snopes. Does map of missing persons in United States match up with cave systems? With some additional context, this coincidence doesn't seem quite as spooky. I still think it's spooky no matter what, but they try to kind of soften the blow a little bit, but I don't think they did a very good job. So the claim is a comparison of two maps shows how most people in the United States seem to go missing near cave systems. So it's a mixture of and what's true is a few similarities exist between a map of mysterious cases of missing persons and a map of cave systems in the United States. What's false? However, this is not a map of all people who have gone missing in the United States. It focuses on so-called strange disappearances that occurred near national parks. Data from the bottom map was overlaid on the top to make the coincidence seem stronger. And lastly, correlation does not imply causation.
Thanks, Lawyer Dan.
Right. So the top map shows the mysterious cases of people that have vanished without a trace, and the bottom shows America's largest cave systems. So as you can see, there is some pretty heavy overlay. Now they go into the black dots because this map has been altered from the original David Politis map, where he has mapped out all the cases of mysterious disappearances. And keep in mind, he's completely filtered out all the ones that can be easily explained or ones of people that have, contemplated suicide or wanted to go missing and things like that. So the map still is showing all the mysterious disappearances, which number over 1,000. So it goes on to say, this may seem like an eerie coincidence at first glance, but when we take a closer look at where the maps originated and what they purportedly showed, the comparison seemed overstated. For starters, the top map is not an exhaustive list of every missing person in the United States. No shit, that would be an even bigger map with over 600,000.
Yeah.
If you notice, the map doesn't show any missing persons in large metropolitan areas like Detroit, Michigan. No shit, we're talking about missing people in cave systems. This is how Snopes works, in case you didn't know. These fuckers. That's because it was created with the focus on people who mysteriously vanished in remote areas, specifically near national parks. No shit, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And because national parks are home to nearly 5,000 caves, these two maps, not surprisingly, have some similarities. The original map of missing persons was created by David Politis, a former detective and current Bigfoot hunter, for his Missing 411 book series. The version of the map on his website shows a series of orange dots surrounded by various color markings, but it doesn't feature the hundreds of black dots shown on the viral map above. It appears that someone simply took the cave dots from the bottom map and overlaid them onto the missing persons map. This may just explain why the two maps look so similar. That's the original map, and that is the map below of the cave systems.
It still coincides.
It still coincides. What the fuck are they talking about? And it's still an ungodly amount of people that have gone missing.
Yeah.
So they're just like blown over that fact. And I'm like, do you know how colored that map would be if it was every person that's gone missing ever in the United States?
Right.
Insane. And then he goes on to say some parallels can still be drawn between the two maps. After all, Politis was mapping people who mysteriously vanished near national parks, which are home to thousands of caves, but the similarities are not as clean. Bullshit. As noted above, the people map is not an exhaustive list of all missing persons. In the United States, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System reports that nearly 600,000 people go missing every year. Many of these cases are resolved with the persons being found alive and well, but tens of thousands of individuals will remain missing for more than a year. The vast majority of these missing persons cases are not counted on this map. It's still a pretty littered map, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The above displayed map only shows what Politis calls 411 cases, or cases Politis has deemed as having strange circumstances. This could be a case involving dogs that failed to pick up a scent, people who were found with missing clothing items, or cases involving people who traveled unusual distances after they were last seen. The Skeptical Inquirer took a deeper look into Politis' 411 cases, and while the Inquirer found that Politis' work involved real cases of missing people, no shit, many of the so-called strange circumstances had plausible explanations. Okay, here we go. These are the plausible explanations. Politis has classified over 1,440 missing person cases under the Missing 411 label. At its core, Missing 411 is the vague claim that something unusual is occurring related to deaths and disappearances in national parks. The concept has been steeped in a milieu of conspiracy and the supernatural, as Politis frequently appears on paranormal-oriented radio shows and podcasts to discuss it. They're demonizing people like us, Matt.
Yeah.
That question the narrative. A forthcoming documentary appears to be in the works as well. I've been unable to ascertain the meaning of 411. Fucking idiot, because he didn't look deep enough into it. I can only speculate that it's slang synonym for information, although missing info isn't much better of a moniker. So he's talking shit now. I was finding these cases to be fairly mundane until I arrived at the hiker's disappearance. Following a deadpan factual reporting of the details, Politis quotes a local person saying cryptically that, according to local legend, beings called Lemurians lived underneath Mount Shasta. Maybe the Lemurians got Carl. The text is decorated sparsely with this and other head-scratching non sequiturs. For example, in the last case of my brief audit, a woman named Amy disappears while exercising. Her body was never recovered, but her wristwatch was found in a riverbed years later. Politis points out that years after that, a woman named Anne disappeared from the same place. He felt the need to point out that both of their names start with A, and their first names only had 3 letters. I can only presume Politis is open to the possibility that some nefarious Batman villain is at work in this area. Beware the 3-lettered killer. That whole thing pisses me off because the guy just picked and chose. And the thing that he hasn't looked into is that all these cases have coinciding mysteries and facts and correlations between them. Not he's just picking the craziest sounding ones.
Yeah.
And we're definitely gonna have a show about Mount Shasta and all the crazy shit that goes on there, by the way. In short, the above displayed maps, one showing people who mysteriously vanished, the other cave systems in the United States, do bear a few similarities. However, that's because the missing persons map shows people who have vanished under strange circumstances near national parks, which house thousands of caves, and not an exhaustive list of every person currently missing in the United States. So, what a complete crock of shit.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
They're missing the point of the whole fucking map. That's what cracks me up.
Man, we gotta do an episode on Mount Shasta and the Appalachians, just in general.
100%. There's all sorts of crazy shit that happens in the wilderness. And the fact of the matter is, no matter which way you slice it, no matter what crazy, kooky, skeptical person you get on the case that does their research, when I first heard about David Politis, it was about 10 or 11 years ago. And I started listening to every podcast he was on, listening to the little weird parts of cases. Like they were finding remains, like they would find a shoe with only one bone in it and the rest of the body's missing. They would also find clothes neatly folded and piled and in a stack. Yeah. And they were finding that most of the people that have gone missing were wearing bright colored clothing in areas near water. Another correlation was areas named after Devil's River, Devil's Creek, Diablo Lake, things like that. So there's definitely some interesting correlations, and it pisses me off when a site like Snopes just kind of blows it off and doesn't get to the root facts of the craziness. I mean, I don't really believe in coincidences, especially when you have that many. You know what I mean? Because it's not like he just said, okay, this is just a list of all the people that are missing in just the forests. These are all the people that are missing under strange circumstances in the national parks.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking about there is government protected land that they will not let you go into. I was watching a Bigfoot show and they're like, yeah, we can't go over there because that's federal land and we can't film over there. And it's like, man, there's some shit going on in the woods, and I don't think we have any idea of what's really going on over there.
Oh, no, man. I mean, just like the oceans, we don't know.
Yep. So I don't even know what to think, man. When I first started hearing about this, I knew that Politis was a Bigfoot researcher and that he, as a white man, got involved with the Native Americans. They trusted him and they told him all sorts of crazy stories. And then he stumbled upon this mystery after 2 people that worked for the Forest Service came to his hotel, knocked on his door when he was in the middle of a Bigfoot investigation, and basically told him to look into it. And he started looking into these missing people, and realized, holy shit, but he couldn't get any help from the government. He tried to get the list of missing people. And because he used to be, one thing that they failed to mention is that this guy is a retired cop. I believe he was a detective. So,
well, they mentioned that at the very get-go of it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they said retired detective, now turned Bigfoot hunter.
Okay, my bad. They also kind of, I don't know, they were a little. I felt, and it could just be me interpreting it wrong. I felt like it was a little condescending when they threw Bigfoot Hunter in there.
Oh no, it was. It was. They were trying to make him sound insane because
Yeah.
that's the point. They're trying to make it sound like there's no way this guy is legit. I will say, dialing back to the videos for a second, I love the fact that the guy that was talking about flesh pedestrians knew his shit well enough to use that term.
Explain what you know about Flesh Pedestrians, Matt.
Well, the real name has the SW initials, and according to legend, if you talk about them, they will show up. Kind of like the one that has the name W.
Yeah.
If you talk about it, they will show up. And that is proven true throughout everything paranormal and supernatural. Because if you're talking about it, that means you're open to it. That means your brain is actively accepting of it.
Yeah.
Which means, guess what? That veil that keeps us separated from it gets pierced a little bit, and you become more and more exposed to that. So I like the fact that he wasn't just throwing it around for clout on TikTok. He was actually like, Flesh Pedestrian.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder how many people understand that.
Not many, because not many care. They just like throw around the words like Harry Potter always walking around going, "Oh, Voldemort, I don't care. I'm not scared." You know what I mean? So it's like that. They like to throw it around like they're not scared. It's for clout. It gets them talked about. And it's just like, but you don't know what you're messing with. You don't know what you're playing with. And that's the problem, is they don't know what they're playing with. They didn't do any research. They saw a video and they're like, "Oh, I'm an expert."
Let's run through some theories real quick. And there are so many. So I'm curious what your opinions are on them, and I'll give you my opinions on them as well. Like I said, when I first started hearing about this, my first inclination was to go, "Oh yeah, Bigfoot's taking these people." You know what I mean? Before I started getting into the nitty-gritty details that were so similar all the way across the board, all the way across the country, in different parks and in different areas. So I would say that maybe some of the cases do involve Bigfoot taking people, but I don't think it's all Bigfoot. I really don't.
So in South America, there's a predominant legend that Bigfoot will snatch women, or their version of Bigfoot will kidnap women to live with them. Not necessarily for like that kind of reason, but they will kidnap people.
Sure.
And they use them as keepers. Like they keep their dens clean and stuff like that.
Bastards.
Right? But I mean, there's legends of that, but I mean, it very well stands to reason that, Bigfoot's snatching folks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, even in Africa, big cats, sometimes you'll see a lioness eat the gazelle and then adopt the baby for a short time.
No shit?
Yeah, it happens.
There's another weird fact that Matt has dropped on us tonight.
Yeah, like if it's more of a leopard, because they're more solitary. But I mean, like a lone lioness eats a gazelle. If there's a baby, sometimes, not all the time, but very rare, it's a rare occurrence, they'll adopt a baby for a short time.
Interesting.
I mean, super short, because eventually they get hungry again. But like, it's not like they're keeping a snack around. Like they'll clean it, mother it, and everything.
They're like, you need to get a little bit bigger before I eat your ass.
So I'm guessing, but I mean, it stands to reason that I'm not saying all these cases are Bigfoot, but I mean, Bigfoot definitely is involved in some of them, I would say.
Okay. The next one would be aliens.
Okay, yeah.
People or aliens or extraterrestrials are coming down and I've heard this crazy conspiracy, and I say crazy with love, that a long time ago, the aliens made a pact or an agreement or a contract with the United States government that in exchange for technologies that they had in their possession, that they were allowed to abduct people. They just couldn't make it obvious. So the best way to do that would essentially be to go into the wilderness, where people usually would go or would easily go missing, and it's easily explainable. Oh yeah, they fucking got lost, or they got eaten by a bear, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense, but I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't call it a pact necessarily. The government's just like, okay,
Yeah.
don't blow us up.
Yeah. Let's see those saucers. Let's see those saucers you're talking about.
Yeah, like, can you let us pop this?
So you think that's possible too?
I think so. I mean, man, like we say so many times on the show, anything's possible.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, it could be. It stands to reason. I mean, like, what was that movie? Fire in the Sky. Wasn't that based on a true story?
Yeah, Travis Walton.
Yep. So I mean, look at that. That's a situation. They were what, loggers? They were loggers.
Yeah, he was he has an interesting. So Fire in the Sky wasn't exactly factual to what really happened. They
Right.
took a lot of liberties, and Travis Walton was actually on the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan's podcast,
Okay.
and his story was a lot crazier. Like he had more interaction with these things than the movie showed.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting episode. You guys should check it out. For sure.
I'll have to do that.
But with the aliens, like anything is possible. It's just weird how so many of these cases are correlated, and when you start breaking them down, the amount of cases that have such similar circumstances start making you scratch your head, going, okay, if these people are going missing all over the country, it can't be a single Bigfoot. I don't really think they work in a little Bigfoot civilization where they all communicate with each other. I don't think that's the case.
Like they're sending a text or like a tweet. LOL,
Yeah.
got one.
Yeah. The alien thing kind of made sense to me. Then you can start talking about portals. Are these people slipping into portals?
Yeah.
Then you have to ask yourself, well, there's children involved, and some of these people have been returned. In fact, one of the stories that got me onto the Bigfoot thing was that one of these children that went missing and was found said that he was basically taken care of by, I forget if he called it a bear man. I don't think he called it a dog man. Speaking of dog man, somebody reached out today to me, Matt.
Oh, gosh.
Somebody that we both know caught me completely off guard. And this person said, hey, I have a dog man story. And it was out of the blue because this person asked me for my phone number. I gave him my phone number over Facebook Messenger. And then they sent me a message, a little while later. Hey, this is so-and-so. I have a dog man story. And I was like, whoa, because I find this person to be very credible. And I can't wait. I asked them if they were willing to come on the show. And they said yes. So we are going to have a guest telling us about a dog man encounter. And I, on the surface, believe this person to be credible. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to talk to him. It'll probably be in the next couple shows. We got to make sure that we can get them on at a convenient time for their schedule. So hopefully we can get them on a Saturday night at about 7:00. But anyways, so that's kind of exciting. Just wanted to let you know about that. So when I heard that, and I was like, okay, a child says a bear man took care of him. I'm like, that sounds like a Bigfoot to me, especially if you're talking about a young kid under 5 years old, how they would describe a Bigfoot if they've never heard of a Bigfoot.
It'd be bear man, yeah.
Yeah, bear man, right? There's also situations where these people, most of the cases I read about were children that not only did they disappear, but when they were found several miles and several feet, thousands, sometimes hundreds of feet up in elevation from where they had gone missing in a short amount of time, and they were not dirty.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I'm like, how's a kid going to scale a mountain range, be found, and not be dirty at all? You're talking about a kid. My daughter can't walk from her room to the living room without having some sort of mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nope. I'm with you.
I'm like, that is mysterious. It's almost like something picked them up and carried them, or, picked them up and dropped them off in a different place.
Yeah.
So the high strangeness involved in these cases is just mind blowing. But I have heard, I think I've said it on the show before, there was that case of the guy who was walking down a trail, looked up and saw basically the atmosphere around him in front of him on the trail was like almost like water. And he walked up to it and stuck his hand through it or his foot through it. and it disappeared. He pulled that shit out and took off running the other way. So
I
could these
never
people
understood people's fascination, like in movies and stuff. Oh, is that a portal? Nope. Throw a stick at it.
Yeah.
You don't get close to it. Yeah, throw a stick. If the stick disappears, you keep going the other way. Like, was this guy white? I guarantee you this guy was white.
For sure.
That was telling the story. I guarantee this guy was white. God.
Oh man. That's hilarious.
Like, I hate it when stereotypes are true. I guarantee you a white woman was wandering around the woods and found a baby Sasquatch. She'd be like, your name is now Pedro and you're coming to live with me.
It's funny because on Joe Rogan's show, he was talking about the sci-fi show that he had. And on one of his episodes, he said, you want to know who you don't see that hunts Bigfoot? Black people. And I was like, no shit. I don't think I've ever seen a black guy hunt Bigfoot. I wonder what that's all about.
Because they're smart. They don't go in the woods.
Apparently. They know where danger's at. But it's definitely, there's so many different possibilities. You know, you got Bigfoot, aliens, portals. Then there was a case where a child was taken, and this story is crazy, and I'll try to retell it the best I can. He was in some sort of cave system, and what appeared to be a relative of his grandmother, I think, was asking him questions or like ordering him around. And I believe that this being asked this kid to defecate on a piece of paper. And he was like, I don't have to go. And he realized that this thing was not actually his grandmother.
Yeah.
And he was soon returned back to the surface or whatever, only to tell this crazy story. So it's like, oh, man, you know, what did he trip into a mushroom field and accidentally eat a mushroom and started tripping balls or what? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? So there's so many weird circumstances. But then I started thinking about, oh, wow, it's taken underground into a cave system. And there's
with
many
shapeshifter.
Yeah, there's many theories about there being civilizations underneath us.
I mean, the poop thing's weird, but
yeah, I thought that was a little weird detail. I got to figure out where I saw that. But I saw that and I was like, okay, that's weird. And if you think about it, why would the kid make up something so strange?
Right.
And
I mean,
kids are strange, don't get me wrong, but pooping on a piece of paper, like, I don't know. That's a little weird to me.
Yeah, that's a little weird. But
Could they have come up with that? Maybe, maybe they got a dog at home and it was using those wee pads and it was just stuck in his head that the dog takes poops on wee pads.
Yeah.
Who knows? Kids say some crazy shit. But so you got the underground people or whatever they are taking people underground. Still, to me, doesn't explain the situations where these people are found. Some of these people that are found are too damn scared and traumatized to even talk about what their experience was, which is definitely
they look like different people. Even they're so traumatized, they look completely different.
Yeah,
or aged even.
So I don't even know what to think. There's so many different possibilities. And the circumstances are so weird, and all the connecting dots of, the similarities and the disappearances really have me scratching my head going, I don't think it's all Bigfoot. I don't think it's all aliens. I don't even know what it is. Another thing that we don't talk about very often is colonies of people that could be feral, essentially.
Oh, yeah, the feral people theory. I love that one. Especially in the Appalachians, that's totally believable.
Yeah, and that freaks me the hell out. A feral civilization of people that decided to just, screw society and live in the woods. A little breakaway civilization, so to speak.
Man, if they're truly a feral society, they've been out there longer than we've been a government.
For sure. 100%. And much like what we think about Bigfoot, they're the masters of their domain. They've been out there long enough. They know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the national forest or the federally owned lands themselves are just so vast and empty that if there's a group of people that decided long ago they didn't want to be found and taught their descendants to be scared of outside people or not to be scared of, but to avoid, they have tons of room to not be bothered. That's the thing. Like,
none of these people, also, one other thing, none of these people were carrying a firearm when they disappeared. Obviously, the children weren't, but there have been adults that have disappeared.
Stay strapped to get clapped.
Yeah. Also, another interesting fact is that a lot of these people are either highly educated, have a mental disability, or another correlation is that they're of German descent.
Really?
Yeah. That's why this thing on the surface, people go missing. Okay, yeah, people go missing. Hey, people go missing in the wilderness. Yeah, no shit. Hey, here's all the list of the weird shit. And then you go, holy shit, what is happening?
So, fun fact, since we've been talking about natives and stuff like that, they did not mess with crazy people. They wouldn't harm them. They'd leave them alone. They let them either live amongst them or leave them wherever they found them. They believed they were touched by the spirits, and if they were talking to themselves, they were communicating with the spirits. So they were called the touched ones, and they were left alone.
Interesting.
Fun fact.
Interesting. Here's another off-the-wall story. I heard that a Native American lady once was kidnapped by Bigfoot and actually they copulated, and they had a child, and this child was mentally disabled, and it eventually died a short time later. I know that's a random story, but I thought it was interesting.
I mean, good for her.
Yeah, right. But I guess this person, the child that was conceived was very large, but had some mental issues. Now, were they actual mental disabilities, or was it just, feral and more animalistic than a human being? Who knows? I don't even know if the story's true. It's just something I heard along the way.
I mean, I would think the DNA would be too different for it to work out.
You never know.
I mean, you never know. Anything can happen, but I'm just saying.
Going back to the Bigfoot thing, when people are like, oh, there's no physical evidence, they have found hairs that are unlike any hairs of any known animal in those areas.
Yeah.
They
do not match the national DNA database.
Yeah. And when people talking about, oh, where's the evidence? It's like, there's some. What are you going to say about that? And they got nothing to say.
No.
But as far as the missing people, I still don't have a concrete theory. And David Politis, much to his credit, he will not align himself with any of these theories. And most of it involves him just being so blown away by all the weirdness surrounding these things, these disappearances. So when I hear that, I don't even know what to think.
I respect the fact that he leaves you to come up with your own opinion.
Yeah.
He's very, here are the facts, come up with what you think.
Yeah. And it's tough because it's almost like, well, fuck, I don't know what to think, man. It could be so many different things, but the strangeness involved is what is blowing my mind.
Right.
And I don't even have, I can't, if you ask me, Chris, what's your theory? Where do you think these people are going? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea. And for some reason, this is not throwing up a red flag for our government, which brings my conspiracy theory antenna up. And I go, whoa. Why is the government not, cooperating with researchers that are trying to get answers to this shit?
I mean, even if the government, like the Rangers and the Search and Rescue Service, even if they get involved, it's like, what, a 72-hour period? And they're like, well, we can't find them. Have a great day.
And then there's a story about the Green Berets. Why would the Green Berets go on a search for a kid? I mean...
not just like the Green Berets, like getting involved in going to search for the kid. The Green Berets in full combat gear going out to search for a kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they showed up in their boots and went out searching. They showed up in full combat gear and then hit the woods looking for this kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess if you ask me what my base theory about this is I don't know what's happening to these people, but I do know, or I believe, that the government doesn't want us to know what's out in those woods.
Oh, 1,000%.
Which is scary as fuck. You know what I mean?
See, it doesn't necessarily scare me.
Oh, it doesn't, Matt? It doesn't?
Look, you turn around, there'd be a scary little white lady standing behind you.
That
No,
would definitely scare me.
but no, I mean, man, you gotta be. I mean, the world's so messed up and terrifying as it is. It's just like,
Yeah.
and that's the stuff we know about. I mean, I'm not gonna worry about what might or not be going bump in the dark as long as it keeps leaving me alone. It's kind of one of those things. I'll worry about it when it's sitting in front of me.
Sure.
Until then, I don't have the energy or bandwidth to give it the time of day to be scared of it.
The problem is, I don't think it's really fear for me. The problem with me is I have enough bandwidth to give a shit and go, why does the government not want us to know the truth about shit like this? What are they hiding?
Shady. The government be shady as hell.
I know, but why? What are they hiding? My curiosity is so like it's out of control because I'm like, I want to know what's happening to these people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So like Theodore Roosevelt, didn't he go out on a hunting trip one time and he came back like almost dead because something got a hold of him?
I know that there was a reported Bigfoot encounter. I don't think that Theodore Roosevelt had it himself, but it was a credible encounter where somebody was completely mauled by a creature described as what I would call a Bigfoot, but he was involved in creating the national parks.
I mean, he was the forerunner for modern conservation. Absolutely.
Yes. And so that's a conspiracy theory, is that he knew what was going on and he wanted to make sure that he controlled it or put a lid on it, try to make sure that the American people wouldn't find out.
So you have to ask yourself, like with the American people, as far as settlers go, when they started branching out from the East Coast, okay? What the hell did they run into that kept pushing them until they got to the other side and set up shop over there and then started really putting down roots and populating? Like, think about that. If they truly did a branch out and just society grows as it goes, we would, like, the East Coast would be nothing but cities up until, like, my state right now. You know what I mean? And their expansion. But they just kept on trucking through hostile land until they got to the other side.
It might have just been a case of let's go until we find where it ends.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it very well could be. But I mean, at the same time, man, there's got to be something they ran into.
Oh, okay. I wish we had better accounts. You know what I mean?
I wish we had better non-doctored accounts.
Yeah. That's too bad. I don't think we'll ever know the actual truth, and that bothers the hell out of me.
Chris, if time travel ever becomes a thing, we're going.
For sure.
That's gonna be our vacation. I was like, all right, man, we're going wagon training this year.
Sign me up, dude. Man. Yeah, I'd end up with dysentery. I know it.
Dude, it's just the shits.
Okay? I know.
We'll be all right.
But yeah, I just the woods are the ocean scares me more, but the woods definitely scare me.
I mean, the ocean. I mean, did you watch that shark video I sent you today?
Yeah, dude. The problem with the ocean, and it's always going to be my problem, is I don't know what the hell's down there.
Yeah. So I just operate off of general rule of thumb when I deal with anything nature, supernatural, or paranormal. I lump it all in with nature. Damn nature, you scary. For
sure. 100%.
Because nature will humble you quicker than anything else.
Yeah. That American Crocodile video scared the hell out of me too. I can't
believe you didn't know about them bastards. I can't believe it.
I knew about alligators. I didn't know there was an American crocodile.
There sure is.
And those angry bastards.
They get. Oh, that was a frisky one. That was.
She was not happy.
Oh, she was happy, man. That's the language of love. But oh yeah, man. Yeah, American crocodiles, American alligators.
The world is crazy, man. I can't help but think, hey, we're lucky. You know what I mean? In Africa, you could look out your front door and there could be a lion there. You know what I mean? Like, could
Man.
you imagine if we had lions here, like lions?
But we do have lions.
We got
So
mountain lions.
we got a big kitty cat. Nothing compared to a lion. Give me 1 second. I gotta look this up real fast.
Okay.
Average size of American
Oh no.
crocodile. I can't remember how big they get. Okay, so average size of a male at full adult is 13 to 16 feet.
Jesus Christ.
And you didn't know about them.
Wow.
Let's see here. Average size of American alligator. The one you were worried about. 9 to 15 feet for an adult male. So they guess might be about the same size.
So they're dinosaurs. That's the thing. It's like, I don't think people like, we are so fortunate that we don't have to, like, we can be in our houses and really not worry. But there are things, even in the United States, that can kill the shit out of you. You know what I mean? This world is filled with creatures that can kill the shit out of you.
So the American crocodile ranges from the tip of Texas in the Gulf of Mexico all the way through this. They range the same as alligators. So they range from the tip of Texas all the way up into South Carolina, and then up north, like through Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia.
You guys got crocodiles in Arkansas?
Yeah, we got crocodiles and alligators.
Oh my God.
In South Arkansas, down towards the bayou.
Yeah,
that we-
wow.
I
I
mean,
wonder if Blake's ever seen an alligator. Just
bro, if Blake ain't seen an alligator, I'm revoking his Cajun status because
now I got to ask him. We got a friend named Blake that lives in the bayou.
I mean, if he tells us he ain't seen an alligator, I'm telling he can't bring his jambalaya pot to our vacation because.
Yeah, I never talked to him about that. I wonder if he's, and I'm not talking about a zoo or any of that bullshit. I'm talking about in the wild. Have you seen an alligator?
I have not in the wild.
Okay.
But I've never been that far south in Arkansas.
Okay.
I'd want to. I'm down. I mean, we have alligator season here in Arkansas.
Wow. That's crazy. How far are you from the Ozarks?
I'm in them. I live in them.
No shit?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I live in the Boston Mountain part of the Ozarks, but I'm there. I'm in them.
Wow, that's crazy.
See, because that was a very real fear for me growing up. Being the nature-educated child I was, I knew we had alligators, and I was terrified that somebody would have an alligator, or somehow an alligator got into the lake that we all swam in.
Do you remember the show Rescue 911?
Yeah.
There's one episode of that show that scared the hell out of me, and it was an alligator attack that happened at a lake. That made me think completely differently of lakes until I found out that there were no alligators in Washington, and I was like, oh, thank God.
But I mean, at the same time, unless you just jump right on top of one, if they'll leave you alone. I mean,
okay.
They're super compared to, like, say, like a Nile crocodile or a saltwater crocodile or something like that. The American species of crocodilians are chill compared to those guys. Like, I mean, there's people that just swim with them in the Everglades when they're in the clear water. Like, now, granted, I wouldn't go try to swim with one in, like, the murky water, but in the clear water, I'd give it a shot.
Good luck with that. I'll pay to watch.
They're ambush predators, man. If you're looking at them and they know you see them, they ain't gonna try to get you.
Ambush predators. All right. Do they know that they are ambush predators and they're not supposed to attack you?
Yeah.
Oh man,
They've been doing it for millions of years. They got it down.
I'm not willing to take that risk. They're wild animals. I don't trust a wild animal. That like.
Look,
I remember as a kid, I saw people holding at the zoo one of those giant boa constrictors. I ran up and touched it, and I thought, at any moment, this thing could turn on these people. You know what I mean? At any moment, a wild animal can do what wild animals do. Like,
you would have hated my neighborhood. So one of my neighbors across the street has a Colombian red-tailed boa.
oh God.
He fed it one day and forgot to close the cage. They live in their garage, in their terrariums. That sumbitch got out, made it across the street, up a pole, and into my neighbors next to me. It ended up in their reef on their front door.
Oh my
Just,
God,
just all up in it. I'll find the picture and I'll send it to you. But
dude.
just all curled up in there, and it's not a little fella either.
The snakes are fucking evil, dude. I had one of my very good friends had snakes for a while, and they had a red-tailed boa.
Yeah.
And I used to be disturbed. I was so sad for the rats and shit when they got fed. Because there was a period of time where they were just dropping these things right in without stunning them and shit. They have this little thing that bam, knock them in the head and like disable them so that they won't bite the snake. But for a while, they were just dropping these rats, like full-size rats, into a giant box, just a cardboard box with this snake. And there was many times where the snake would corner the rat, and the rat would be sitting there shaking in fear, pissing and shitting itself. And then the snake just traumatizes it and then gets it. And I'm like, just eat the fucking thing. You know, it's traumatizing the poor rat. Like,
so doing that's poor animal husbandry.
For sure.
For the fact of the prey item, like you said, was terrified. It's not humane. And then also the fact that prey item could choose fight instead of sit there and shit itself. Yeah. And then you're damaging the animal in your care. Yeah. Because those rat teeth can slice up snakes quicker than shit.
One time it did try to bite, and my buddy's girlfriend, who was actually the snake owner, had to stun the, like, she was, God, it was so inhumane. She was like flicking the rat in its head as hard as she could to get it to like not bite him. Yeah. And I was just like, this is bad. And then finally it got to the point where it wasn't worth the risk anymore. And they were picking him up by the tail and just going wham with this little like club thing and just bashing their poor little heads in and then dropping them in. And they're all, you know, half momos and they're just shaking around. And it was bad. I don't like that kind of shit.
I know people that like own ball python breeding operations. Uh-huh. And that entails you have to have a rat breeding operation as well. So they have a shed where they breed and raise rats for feeders. God. And they sell the feeders as well. Because, I mean, rats proliferate like crazy. Yeah. What they do is they flash freeze the rats. And it humanely done. Okay. American connection with Aztec Blue. I don't know what Aztec Blue is, Dutch guys.
American connection with Aztec Blue. Dutch guys, it's our buddy Dustin. He has surprised me a couple times. I never would have thought that this redneck from Michigan would have such a wide range of knowledge when it comes to conspiracy stuff.
I get nothing but a paint color.
Can you clarify, Dustin, what you're talking about when it comes to the American connection with Aztec Blue?
Yeah, I just get colors. I mean, some cool shirts. But anyway, so yeah, no, I mean, it's just so they like flash freeze them, and then they send you a frozen bag, and you just put it in a bowl of warm water. That's the most humane way to feed.
I have heard of the flash. How do they flash freeze them?
Liquid nitrogen.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Poor rats, man. They don't have it easy. Those poor
No, they sure don't. Unfortunately.
Okay, why the fuck did that just happen?
What happened?
Never mind. My can just flipped onto its side, but I wasn't touching it. However, I'm going to go ahead and attribute that to maybe my mouse tapped it. I don't see anything. I know that there's a lot of mythology involving the Aztecs.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had like a sun god that was a dragon. Or a rainbow serpent.
Is this related to conspiracy theory at all? I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's...
Dustin,
what if he's just sitting there laughing now? He's like, haha, God, I'm Googling paint colors.
Yeah, morons. God. I could easily be fooled if somebody sent me down a rabbit hole. Aztec blue is a form of color they used to paint their monuments and pyramids. Geologically sensitive, no explosion has made the substance. Interesting. So
Okay.
they don't know how they made the color. Does blue represent? I have no idea. Now I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm going to do some digging now.
Interesting. So I see Maya blue as well. Oh. Manufacture. The Maya blue pigment is a composite of organic and inorganic constituents, primarily indigo dyes derived from the leaves of anil
Okay.
plants combined with palygorskite, a natural clay which is not known to exist in abundant deposits in Mesoamerica. Similar trace amounts of other mineral additives have also been identified. I'm not quite sure what to make of this, or if this is even related to what the Aztecs did. But if they're Mayan, I imagine they have some sort of American connection with Aztec blue. I'll have to look into that, Dustin. And on that
Yeah, I
note,
haven't heard of that.
on that note, we've gone over an hour, Matt. I think we had a pretty decent discussion about the mysterious disappearances. Again, I really have no theory other than I think the government knows more than they're willing to talk about, as usual.
Yep, I'll give you that one.
I can't even say I can't even say which way I'm leaning with it, other than the government has to know what's going on.
I mean, that's really the one direction you could take with it. 'Cause, I mean, it could be any number of things.
Yeah.
Now the bulk of disappearances occurring next to water, I find super interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. What does he say? There's a river tribe. Hold on. There's a river tribe of Indian remains in Georgia that the government won't let you trespass on. That might have a link.
I mean,
Really?
yeah, most native burial grounds are no go.
Yeah. That might have a link to the color. That's interesting. Dustin, we'll have to talk about that. I got to do some more research on that. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt. I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. We finally made it on time for once the past few weeks. So
It's been a struggle bus to get on time.
It has, but it's Saturday night. We have lives too. But
Yeah.
This show's a lot of fun and we enjoy it. So we'll be here every week.
Every week, I will always be here. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if that one trip coming up for us. I don't know if it'll be late.
We might pre-record an episode for that one.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do that.
We should get a couple in the can. We'll talk about that off air a little bit. But
yeah,
that was Talking Paranormal, folks. My name is Chris Albrecht. That's my buddy Matt Monroe, and we'll see you right here next week once again to talk paranormal. And remember, anything is possible in this crazy world that we live in.
Oh, very much so.
Even American crocodiles and the Hollow Earth. You never know. We'll see you guys next week.